you know, when you first get together, especially if you have an inkling it might be a long-term thing, and those first 6 months together are just glorious, aren't they? And you just think each other are perfect, and after 6 months you think, well, perfect's pushing it a bit. There's a couple of things I could do with changing. Then you've got a project. Isn't it lovely having a project? I love a project. There's only one thing I'd like to change about my fella. I need to tell you this first. I love waving. I don't know why. I've always loved waving. I love waving. I love it when people wave back to me. I'm going to wave to you now and see how many people wave back. Quite a few of you are upstairs as well. Thank you very much. It makes me really happy, and it's one of the main reasons I learned to drive. My fella doesn't wave, doesn't occur to him in the slightest. When we first got together, one of the times he dropped me off at the train station, I got out the car and I said, I'll see you on Tuesday. He said, yeah, but I'll give you a ring when I get in tonight. I said, smashing. And then I checked just to make sure I was at the right door for my particular platform at this train station. And I turned to give him a little wave goodbye, and the car was already in the distance. A few years later, I was going to Australia for the first time. I was travelling alone. I was going to be away for 6 weeks. I was very nervous. He dropped me off at the airport. He helped me out of the boot with my case. No, sorry. With my case, no. He's not that much of a psychopath. I'm allowed to sit in the car at the moment. But I had this huge case, so he helped me get the case out. And I said, oh, God, I'm going to miss you. And he said, I'm going to miss you too. But he said, you know what, we can Skype whenever you like. He said, you know, you're going to have an amazing time, and I'll come and get you in 6 weeks' time. Bless. And then I did that thing, you know, you have to check you've got your passport and your ticket and your keys and your wallet. I checked all the things I needed in my bag, and then I checked I was at the right terminal, and I turned to give him a little wave goodbye. 6 weeks we were going to be apart. We'd never been apart that length of time before. I turned to give him a little wave goodbye, and I could not see the car. He was already on the fucking motorway. So I said to him recently, I said, you know, the waving thing. He said, did I forget to do it again? I said, no, it's fine, don't worry. I said, I know you don't do, but I said, you know how much I love it? He said, yes, I know how much you love to wave. I said, I was just wondering if there was a bargaining thing we could do. He said, I don't know what you mean. I said, well, for example, is there anything I don't do that you would like me to start doing? Turns out I'm not as bothered about waving as I thought. But when I lived alone, I really liked it. I really like living alone. But one of the things I love about living with somebody else again is I like the unpredictability of it. I like that every now and again a sentence will come out that I would never have said. The most recent one, out of nowhere, he just went, your shed's no good to have a wank in. And I said, that's because it's a greenhouse, love. Are you an eager beaver or a late bloomer? If you're a late bloomer like me, then my new show is just for you. Late Bloomer is available now to stream and download from my website, sarahmillican.co.uk.